Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about how Senator JD Vance of Ohio was the choice of Donald Trump to be his running mate, to be his vice presidential running mate in the 2024 presidential election. Now JD Vance is not yet really a household name. He was just elected in 2022 to the U.S. Senate with the help of Donald Trump's endorsement in the GOP primary. And before that, he hadn't had any political experience at all. So the rise of JD Vance is really something to watch. I mean, it was just incredible how JD Vance had no political experience before 2022, and since then is now the Republican nominee for vice president. It's just a really insane story. So JD Vance is definitely an interesting choice. Donald Trump, there were reported about 4 finalists. Tim Scott's a little iffy. CNN said that Scott was in it, but no one else did. But it looked like it was just down to Doug Burgum, Marco Rubio, and JD Vance. Now, Burgum and Rubio would have been very safe choices. These are, definitely people who don't have, who the Democrats wouldn't be able to find any dirt on, right? They are clean, and they are more on the centrist side, definitely more centrist than Donald Trump, at least. They would be very safe choices that wouldn't stir up a lot of attention. Now, JD Vance, on the other hand, who Donald Trump went with, is definitely more extreme, probably more extreme than Donald Trump, is a bit more conservative than Donald Trump, and definitely someone that the Democrats could attack a lot more than JD Vance. JD Vance, in the past was very critical of Donald Trump, saying very nasty things about Donald Trump in the 2016 election. Since then, he has, completely flipped his views, and he's kind of using that to the campaign's advantage, saying, Donald Trump was such a great president that he even convinced me, who was a fierce critic. Also, his past policy positions, especially when he ran for Senate, that could be used against him, but ultimately, we'll get into it, why it really wasn't all that bad of a pick. But he did go with JD Vance, definitely the least safe of the options, and it really does make sense. Just looking at the national polling here, we see that Donald Trump is basically at the best point he has been, since right after the debate. He currently has a lead of 4.1% nationally in the 5-way matchup, when in this time in 2020, July 16th in 2020, Biden was ahead by 8.6. So what we are seeing is that Donald Trump is doing some 12.7% better this election in 2024 than he was in 2020. 12.7%, that's absolutely insane, especially when you consider the 2020 election map. Joe Biden won the presidency by, a few 10,000 votes across a few states. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada all had insanely close margins, much less than 12.7%. So if Trump would be able to gain that amount in every one of these states, I doubt he will, then it would be a landslide for Donald Trump. So my point is, I think that Donald Trump is thinking that he really does have this in the bag, and for good reason. This is I guess I don't have my current election prediction up. We'll get to that. But I believe that Donald Trump is looking at this like, I don't really need anyone that will help me in the campaign. And, when you think about it logically, he's right. When you look back at 2020, I don't have the tabs up, but when you look back at 2020, after Joe Biden announced Kamala Harris as his running mate in 2020 in August, it was August 11th that he announced it. As the days went by, he gained like 0.5% in the polls, which probably had nothing to do, right, with Kamala Harris being the choice. So, vice presidential picks really don't mean much in this day and age because of our partisan politics. And, Donald Trump looked at these 3, Burgum, Rubio, and Vance, said, Burgum, Rubio would definitely be more safe, but, whoever I pick, it really doesn't matter that much. And I would rather go for, much more of a loyalist like JD Vance, rather than have a situation like in 2021, where a Mike Pence situation, where Mike Pence didn't did certify the election results, went against Donald Trump, and Trump clearly does not want another situation like that. JD Vance, despite his past criticism, is now very loyal to Donald Trump, definitely the most MAGA of Burgum, Rubio, and himself. So I think that that was the sort of ideology that Donald Trump had going into this selection. Now, moving on from that, despite him being definitely the least safe of the finalists, I don't think that he was an awful choice, to be completely honest. I don't think that he was the best choice. I think that Rubio would have been the best. I think that Vance runs equally with Burgum, if this has any effect at all. But just looking at the electoral map here, I'm going to fill in these states very quickly. But Rubio does help where it matters. Vance helps where it matters. Burgum and Rubio, would maybe help in suburbs across the country and just, generally be the pick that won't get you in trouble, right? That won't bring negative attention to your campaign. But despite Vance not being the safest of the choices, he actually does help in the Rust Belt, which is a critical battleground area. Of course, he wins Ohio by quite a lot now. Ohio might be a safe state with Vance on the ticket. But we've got our swing states. Let's see. There we go. We've got our swing states all filled in. I'll even fill in North Carolina. And the Rust Belt is going to be so important in 2024. Just looking at Virginia, New Hampshire, Maine, likely to go to Biden. And then you've got, I'll fill in Nebraska second, I guess. And then you've got your 6 core traditional swing states: Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. And little known fact, Joe Biden can win by winning the 3 blue wall states. That's Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. That gives him 270. You need 270 to win. So Joe Biden does have a path to victory. That is his one singular path to victory. That blue wall in the Rust Belt. That is how Joe Biden wins. And when you look at polling, it actually looks the best for him of all the swing states in those blue wall states. These are the only swing states where it looks like he has any chance of winning. When you look at Wisconsin, whatever his name is, Donald Trump leads by 1.2%. That is a very small margin. Looking at Michigan now, Donald Trump is ahead by just 0.6%. Both those states well within the margin of error. And then you've got Pennsylvania, where he's ahead by 2.6%. But now let's look at the other swing states. We've got Nevada, for example, where Donald Trump is ahead by 4.7%, much more than the blue wall. You've got Arizona, he's ahead by 4.2%, much more than the blue wall. In Georgia, he's ahead by 4.5%, much more than the blue wall. So it looks like Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia, Donald Trump does not need help in these states at all. And maybe he doesn't need help in the blue wall either, but it does appear to be the one region where it is close within the margin of error, where technically Joe Biden could pull out a win. So JD Vance being on the ticket does help in the Rust Belt. He's a populist. He's from Ohio. He brings in these white working class voters. That helps in the Rust Belt carry Donald Trump to a strong victory. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe down below. It helps the channel out a lot. Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments. Also leave a like. That helps in the algorithm. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.